With VicPD arresting 53-year-old Patricia O'Byrne for the May 1993 abduction of her daughter in Toronto. The arrest took place at a residence in the 2000 block of Howard Street here in Victoria on Thursday morning. At the same time, Toronto Police and the Canadian Centre for Child Protection located and informed Sigourney Chisholm, who is now 20 years old. And I cannot begin to comprehend the magnitude of what this young woman has just learned. I would ask the media to respect her privacy as she comes to terms with this news. Detective Constable Roger DePass will speak in a few moments with some additional detail, but I just want to take this opportunity to commend those members of VicPD who helped bring this complex case to a successful conclusion. While I can't get into any operational details, I can say that several of our members worked tirelessly over the past few weeks to assist the Toronto Police Service with this case. I'd like now to introduce Detective Constable Roger DePass, who played a major role in leading VicPD's efforts on this file. He and I will then be available to answer your questions. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Detective Constable Roger DePass, and I'm Victoria PD's lead investigator for this case. Yesterday morning, Victoria PD assisted Toronto Police in concluding an abduction case that dates back to 1993. Patricia Joan O'Byrne, 53 years old, was arrested at a home in the 2000 block of Howard Street just before 8 a.m. She's accused of abducting her daughter, Sigourney Chisholm, on May 15, 1993. O'Byrne has eluded police custody for the past 18 years. There were previous rumors of her whereabouts in England, Norway, Spain, Ireland, and the United States. She will be transferred to the Toronto Police custody later today, and she has a scheduled court appearance in Toronto on December 5th. VicPD became involved in this investigation in October of this year. Toronto Police passed along valuable information from the Missing Children Society of Canada that O'Byrne may be residing in the area. This prompted an extensive investigation to locate O'Byrne, encompassing resources from our patrol units and strike force, which is VicPD's covert surveillance unit. I would also like to acknowledge the work of my fellow colleagues who were of immense help in this investigation. It is always challenging to solve older files, but I think this investigation is a reminder to all the families of missing children that there are still detectives working these files, and we're not giving up. Credit has to be provided to the agencies such as Canadian Centre for Child Protection and MissingKids.ca for keeping these cases in the public eye and for raising awareness. There are invaluable resources that played a substantial role throughout this investigation. Any questions on the current status of Sigourney Chisholm should be directed to the Toronto Police Service or the Canadian Centre for Child Protection. I would like to echo Deputy Ducker's earlier remarks that the media please respect the privacy of the family at this time. I would now be happy to answer any questions about VicPD's involvement, but with a reminder that I cannot discuss specifics of the investigation.
Did you know exactly where she was, or did you have to do some research to find out the location of the house?
Can you just get the mic closer?
Thank you, yes, pull it closer. There we go, thank you.
We had received information from the Toronto Police that indicated where a residence of interest was to us, and then we had to do a little bit of investigation on that.
How long had they been living in Victoria?
From what I understand, they've been living in Victoria for a period of time, and there are some specifics about that, just that we don't want to get into, just to give the family some privacy.
Can you say if it was months or years?
Years.
Or
They've been living here
the whole time?
Years. That's correct.
The whole time, the 18 years?
Not the 18 years, no.
Just wondering, you said there were reports of them being in all other countries. Were those not true, or?
There is confirmation that she was in one other country, but there are specifics to the case files that Toronto, that's a better question that Toronto should answer.
Did the girl know that she had been abducted, or what did you think, where did you think her father was?
That's information that's still ongoing in the investigation.
Is the father around now? Do you know who is the father?
We do know who the father is. He is an active person involved in the Toronto case files, and he is aware of the.
Is he in Toronto?
He is in Ontario.
Where's the girl, or the young woman?
I'm not prepared to release that right now. If that's more of a question, I could direct it out to Toronto police investigators and their service.
What kind of condition was she in when she was found, or was she healthy, or?
She was healthy. She's a young adult that's doing very well. And in the manner that she was approached, we took every caution whatsoever to have counselors there for her. And she's dealing with it as she needs to deal with it with the counselors available to her.
Although a shock, this woman was not a stranger to her. This was her biological mother,
That's
correct? So how does she feel about, I mean, will she have any say as to whether charges proceed against her mother?
No.
Can you tell us, have you laid an official charge here in Victoria, or is that going to be done in Toronto?
Everything will be done in Toronto. It's a Toronto charge, it's a Toronto investigation. Our role has been to assist them, and they've been very clear on what they would like us to do in their investigation.
Is the mother in custody at the present time?
Yes, she is.
And so, what are you holding on now?
We're holding her on a warrant out of Toronto, and last night she was remanded into custody for transportation back to Toronto.
Where is she right now?
She is currently in remand here at our department.
Will she make a court appearance in Victoria Home?
Was the girl living with her mother? I guess the young woman, I should say.
That's she was living with her mother, but obviously not right now.
But she was at the time the mother was arrested.
No.
They were living in separate. Was the girl going to school or working, or?
She was going to school, but
Okay.
once again, that's going to be questions that essentially what I'd like to tell you is that any questions regarding the details of Sigourney Chisholm should be directed to the Toronto Police Department.
Is that the same name? Was she still using that name? Has she used that name all her life? Is that-
No.
So was this the name she was born with, or is this the name she's using
Sigourney
now?
Chisholm is the name that she was born with.
Did she have a different name here?
She does have a different name, but once again, those are questions that you need to ask the Toronto Police investigators and their service.
Can you tell us if the mother and the daughter were living in the house on Howard Street together at any given time?
Once again, with the details to Sigourney, and just out of respect to privacy for her, I'm going to direct you to Toronto Police on that matter.
Could you tell a little bit about what kind of surveillance Victoria Police did? It does sound like Toronto Police told you about where she was living and...
No, I wouldn't be comfortable telling you about how we conducted investigations in this particular file. This file is still ongoing, and that is something that we're not prepared to discuss at this time.
Since you found this out in October, were you just confirming that indeed the lead that you were given by the Toronto Police Department was indeed correct?
We were, as I mentioned earlier, we were given the information from Toronto in October, and they were very clear on what they wanted us to do. So not only were we following up on it, we had directions on an active investigation. So in a way, to answer your question, we were following up on that lead, but we also had other things that we were directed to do by them.
Did you at any time believe the mother was flight risk?
There were concerns about that, yes.
So you had her on surveillance? You already indicated.
I've indicated to you that we did have her under surveillance, but I'm not prepared to go into the details of that surveillance operation.
Patricia Joan O'Byrne, is that the name that she had at the time she left with the child, or is that the name she was using now? Or are they
Patricia Joan O'Byrne is her real name, and that was her name when she did leave with the child.
And was it the name she was using while here?
No, she was under assumed identity.
Will she be facing charges for that as well, or
That's one of the part of the ongoing investigations with Toronto.
what was the name she was using here?
You will need to ask Toronto Police for that.
And the same with Sigourney?
Exactly.
Did she have any other
Details
children?
on the background of, the abduction? Was it a family breakup? And sort of details to why?
No, because the investigation's ongoing, that's a detail that that information should be directed to Toronto, where investigators on it.
Roger, were you there when you entered the house and knocked on the door yesterday?
Both myself and my partner attended the house yesterday, and we did arrest Patricia O'Byrne.
Can you tell us, was she surprised? Was this a relief, or what kind of response she got?
I can tell you that the arrest was without incident. It went well, and other than that, it didn't appear to be anything unusual on her part.
Does she have a record at all?
I can't release that right now. It's ongoing. She's been remanded, but she still needs to appear before a judge in Toronto.
Has she had any interaction with police during the 18 years that she was missing?
There have been some police reports, but nothing of a criminal nature. And I understand that you folks have a million questions, but you also have to understand that I need to get going. These are all,
Does she have any other children with her?
here in Victoria?
Yeah.
No.
Was she employed, the mother?
From what we understand currently right now, she was not.
Had she been in the past in Victoria?
Yes.
Doing what kind of work?
That's part of the ongoing investigation.
Was she in a long relationship with anyone else during this time?
We have nothing to indicate that she was in a relationship with another person.
Did anyone else live in the home when you went there, other than Mrs. O'Byrne? Ms. O'Byrne?
There are other people there, but and like I said earlier, that's part of the ongoing investigation. So I'm not prepared to tell you who exactly were there.
Family members, or?
No,
Is it a single-family dwelling?
it is a single-family residence in Victoria.
Does she own it?
That's another question for that will have to be answered later. That's part of the investigation.
Two more questions for
Was she
Detective Constable.
surprised to see you?
I think she was surprised to see someone at her door at that early hour, yes.
Did she know why you were there right away?
No.
Can you just give us the specific charge, please, that's...
The current charge on the warrant from Toronto is abduction. I believe is section 282 of criminal code.
What was the father's reaction, do you know?
I haven't spoken to the investigator regarding his contact with the father. As you can understand, with an investigation of this nature, there are a whole host of other things that are being done, and we've been talking more legal things that we need to do.
It's be an amazing thing for him to see his daughter again.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everyone. Deputy Ducker will be available for any more general questions, but I'm going to let Detective Constable pass it back to this investigation. Thank you.
Deputy, you said that you cannot be, we cannot begin to comprehend what she's just learned. Do you know the reaction?
No, obviously, she's not near here, so Toronto Police is handling that. But I think after 20 years, finding out things such as you've been living a whole different life and a different identity would be pretty shocking.
To put this a bit in context, I mean, you have probably one of the most high-profile missing children's cases in the country. When something like this comes to a conclusion, does it give you hope?
It certainly does, and it says that if you put dedicated professionals on the case and keep at it, that you can be successful, and that kind of thinking motivates us. I know you're thinking about the Dunahee case, and so am I, and that motivates us to keep working on it, and we are every single day of the week.
Can you tell us, we haven't talked about, what was the feeling once this case reached this conclusion yesterday? What was the feeling within the department and the investigators?
Well, I think there was a sense of relief that we were able to move in quickly and effectively and deal with an issue that really we had very little background on, so we had to respond quickly. And I think that many of the officers here are parents and family members, and they would be swept up in the emotion of reuniting a family in this very unusual way. And I think that was quite evident throughout the building.
The young woman has gone back to Ontario?
Again, for the sake of the family privacy and not wanting to compromise anything in Toronto's investigation, we're not going to get into any details about her current location or identity or situation.
I'm just wondering how she's doing the work. This must be like for her.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
and I
make
mean,
sense of that.
I'm not there, so I'm not really able to comment on that.
Were you there when,
When you say you're not there, do you mean that she is in Toronto now or on her way to Toronto?
Well, again, she's not around here, and that's as far as I'm going to go with it. So, and I don't know what any kind of emotional reaction would be.
did she seem to have had a good upbringing? I'm just trying to get what kind of impact this has on her person.
Yeah, I can't comment on that. I'm really, all I can help you with is what we did here.
Regarding the charges, is there a difference between, abduction by a stranger, abduction by a parent, and after 18 years, is there insinuating circumstances that might,
Oh, this will be an interesting case to unravel from a prosecutorial perspective, I'm sure, and how they continue to gather evidence and lay a case out and speak to the young victim in this case is going to play heavily into it, I would imagine, but a lot more work to do on that end of it. I mean, we haven't even really gone into the court system with it yet. So.
Can you talk about the process of moving her here from Victoria to Toronto?
Right, so a warrant has been issued. That warrant has to be legally endorsed in the province of British Columbia to be validated. That is in progress now, if it hasn't already happened. And there are investigators here from the Toronto Police Service, and they will be escorting her out of here on Monday, I believe.
Has she been cooperating with police?
She is compliant, but she has not assisted the investigation in any way.
Does she have legal counsel, or has she asked for that?
Yes, that has been covered up.
What about Ms. Chisholm? Has she been cooperating with police, talking to police?
Again, when she's not here, I don't know.
Who is her legal counsel?
I don't know. I'm going to assume, stand to be corrected, that she's just dealing with legal aid right
So the father hasn't met with Sigourney yet?
now. Not to my knowledge.
But he's aware of it,
I would think so.
and he's in Ontario.
Again.
No, it's okay, it was said earlier.
Have you seen many of these kind of parental abduction cases prosecuted before?
There have been a few, but certainly none of the sort of scope in terms of distance and in terms of time. I haven't seen one like this really before.
Couple more questions for the deputy, or?
Is there a number, the contact in Toronto we can get?
Yeah, we have all the contact information. Mark will be supplying that for you.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you.